Hello, everybody. I welcome all of you at Impetus for this course in Python programming. The initial two sessions, we are going to have introduction to Python, and then you can definitely make up your mind whether Python is a language that you should really, or technology that you should really spend or invest your time into. I'm Rishikesh, and I'll be conducting this particular course for you. So let's begin with introduction of Impetus and Python both. So Impetus was founded in 1999. Now, on 10th of coming month, this month, 10th of June, we'll be celebrating 23rd Foundation Day. That is 22 years have been passed. We have been conducting training. Am I not audible? There are some students who are saying,
Absolutely audible.
Sir, you are, sir.
Saurabh, he is check at your end. Okay. So tell your friends if they're having some problem, just ask them to log in once again in case if they have problem.
Sir, actually the voice is low.
Voice is low. क्या बात कर रहे हो?
No, sir, your voice
No,
is
sir,
okay.
It's fine.
It's
No,
fine, sir.
I've done all the settings. Okay. You can also, others can also check audio at your end as well. From my side, I have made all the settings correctly. Okay. So I was just telling about Impetus. Impetus was founded in 1999. Now it's almost 22 years of completion. 10th of June, we'll be celebrating our 23rd Foundation Day. That means 22nd anniversary is what we'll be celebrating. That means 20 years means two generations, almost two generations we have been training people on variety of technologies. So including me and other trainers that we have been working on variety of technologies and have enough of experience. But then in this particular field, experience do count, but technology keeps on evolving. And so do the trainers also have to keep on evolving. We are all passionate about programming, and we make sure that we keep ourselves abreast with the latest things which are there in the technology. So as the technology evolves, we as faculty are also evolving. And the good thing or something that we are proud about is we have been associated with the creators of the technology right from day one. I, being one of the founder members, I always believed in a concept that when you are actually going to be a part of a technology, you're going to train people on some technology, we should actually be delivering something which is up to date, something which is of world-class standard. Now, if I want to supply something which is of world-class standard, we have to be associated with the creators of the technology itself. So when it came to Oracle, we were partners with Oracle, and we started training candidates on technologies that Oracle provides, like Java, like SQL, like PLSQL and other things. Then we were partners with Autodesk. And when we were partners with Autodesk, we started providing training programs on the Autodesk designing softwares. Then we are partners with PTC. And like when it comes to Python, today we are also partner with Python Institute. So the advantage of being associated with this global organization is like we know what is the expectation when it comes to the industry. So in the process of preparing ourselves, the trainers to be certified, we get ourselves abreast with the latest things. And so we can prepare the next generation for the technology the way it is required in the market. We can prepare the people for that particular technology. So we always have been authorized training and certification center. We had discontinued this certification center recently because of this COVID situation and things, but we are also a certification center. That means you may have been learning any other technologies, but you could come down at Impetus and get yourself certified at Pearson Training Institute, Certification Institute. Currently, we are not into it, but then we are always a part of it. So we were an authorized training center for Autodesk, for Oracle, for PTC, and currently for Python as well. Even if you talk about C++, we are authorized training center for C++. That means if you really want to appear for international certification, and if you go through Impetus, we'll actually be preparing you for all the contents which are required for you to successfully crack international certification. And today we have amongst us Dheeraj Chaudhary, who has recently cracked the international certification for Python as well. So let me congratulate Dheeraj. Take this opportunity to congratulate Dheeraj.
Thank you, sir.
He completed the course and immediately he went ahead clearing the certification exam. So congrats Dheeraj once again. So we are partners with them for Python Institute, through which we follow their curriculum in an extent, like we make sure at least whatever is there for the certification, that much is being covered. We normally don't even wait, or we do not restrict ourselves from going beyond what the curriculum says. But we see to it, at least whatever is there in the international curriculum certification exams, we cover up all of those things. Right from early days, various technologies, even C, C++, when we teach, or when you go ahead with Java, we do not restrict ourselves to any university syllabus or any local what is required in the market. We see to it that whatever, as of laying the foundation, when you learn this programming language like C, C++, or Java, Python, they're going to lay your foundation for future work. So your foundation has to be perfect. So we ensure that whatever is required for you to excel, it's just a starting point of your career. So what is required for you to excel in your career tomorrow, or to master the technology, we make sure that the foundation is laid down. Even if it means taking some extra sessions, talking about topic that may sound difficult, especially with Python, people have an impression like Python is very easy. It is easy, not that it is not easy. But then just to make it appear very easy, it shouldn't be the case that we will not look into the powerful features of Python, like the decorators, the generators, and the object-oriented concepts in Python. We cannot just leave away those things just because people find it difficult to learn. It's about how can we make people learn that particular technology and use those concepts to do something very creative in Python. So we make sure that all the constructs which one needs to know as a Python developer, those are being delivered. Same is the case with any other technology that you talk about. We are also a Tally Academy. So any friend of yours who is from commerce background and they would like to have a certification in the commerce, the accounting course. So we are also partners with Tally Academy. Myself, I am Rishikesh, and I have more than 20 years of experience in training. Before that, I was into development. Before that, I was into marketing. So marketing, development, and training. But my heart lies in training. I'm into development as well, but then I'm more passionate about training. But I personally believe a trainer, if it has to be a trainer, successful trainer, he has to be a developer. So I cannot just create new generation developers without myself or my trainers not doing development. So we also engage into development activities so that we understand what does really the industry requires when it comes to delivering the softwares. So our development experience helps tremendously in a training venture. So my personal thought process is a trainer cannot be a successful trainer unless he designs softwares or develops softwares, and a developer cannot call himself as a developer if he cannot train people. So if you are in a team and if you cannot pass on the knowledge that you have to your team members, then you are no developer. So developer should be a trainer and trainer should be a developer. You cannot just say I am just a trainer, I am just a developer. I can develop on my own, but I'm not going to collaborate with my team members. And if you are in my team, I'll say, oh, you are up to yourself. You do what I want to do. I'm not going to help you out. I'm not going to tell you how the things are to be done. Then you are no developer. For you to be a successful developer, you also have to be a trainer. And for you to be a successful trainer, you also have to be a developer. Keep that thing in mind. So training is not just meant for people who come from, who are teachers. It's meant for everybody. A trainer, a developer also has to be a trainer if you really want to count yourself as a successful developer. So today we are going to start with introduction to Python. The next few sessions will be introduction. A lot of times I have seen people saying like, how long is it going to take to complete the introduction? Can we not just wind up within 1 minute or one session? I don't feel that's the right way to go ahead. Unless and until the technology that you plan to master, some of you even may be planning career in this particular technology. And if you do not know what possibilities exist in this particular technology, what's the point in learning the syntax? And if I talk about syntaxes keeps on changing from Python 2 to Python 3, the entire syntax has changed. So is it only about the syntax that we are here to learn? And if you really have concept of syntax in your mind, and that is what is your motivation to learn Python, then you are at the wrong place. Because over here, the Python course will be around 72 hours course. And to learn syntax, take my word, 10 to 12 hours of learning of Python is enough if you want to learn syntax of Python language. What is syntax that I'll talk to? But those who have that mind idea कि अरे syntax ही पढ़ना है, थोड़ा बहुत यहाँ 2 नंबर का addition, 3 नंबर का multiplication करना है, if that is what you have in your mind, you are at the wrong place. And if you really want to understand this technology and then begin your career in Python, wherein you start using the Python for some practical purpose, then you are at the right place. So shouldn't be asking about, sir, course कब खत्म होगा? वो होगा 72 hours. I have said it can be 75 or 76 or 80, not beyond that. But what 72 hours is what I have scheduled. थोड़ा बहुत आगे पीछे चल सकता है, because it depends upon where students are stuck up. Sometimes students ask more questions, sometimes they don't ask questions, sometimes some concept I need to take some more examples. So slightly it can vary, but it's somewhere around 72 hours is what we require to conduct this particular, complete this course. And this is core Python as a language. This is not a specialization course which will immediately start, which will help you to start developing some web applications or some embedded applications. No, it will help you to express your idea using Python logic language. Means tomorrow you go into web development in Python, or you do embedded programming in Python, you do network programming in Python. At the end of the day, you need to write a code. So how do you express your logic, your idea using Python? That is what we are going to learn. So after this course, what should be your next objective? Identify one area of specialization. It could be data science, it could be machine learning, it could be embedded technologies, it could be networks, it could be web development. Identify your area of interest and then start using what you learned in that area of your interest. So that's how you should proceed further. That's how you should proceed further. So this is about Python as a programming language. It's about Python as a programming language. Now, if it's Python as a programming language, it will help you to give you enough of skills so that you can express your idea in whichever domain you start using Python in future. And we never know in which domain you will go into. So after this completion of this course, you can very well come back to Impetus for doing some advanced course in Python, wherein we learn the embedded, the web, the internet, means the network programming in Python. Those are the areas that we actually work on. So that will give you some insight into some advanced areas and so-called advanced Python. But this is a course of Python programming language, and we'll learn almost every concept that is there in the Python programming language, every concept that is there in the Python programming language. So it will lay your foundation for you to excel, for you to select area of interest and start using Python in your area of interest. So introduction to Python programming. So my question to you is, what is programming? What is programming, or what is programming language? You can just unmute yourself and you can answer. Let it be an interactive session, and language do not matter. Language means in which language we communicate, that doesn't really matter. I'm equally comfortable with Marathi. Rishikesh Pisare Deshmukh. I am a Maharashtrian. I am very well comfortable with Marathi. And like you, have spent my life speaking Hindi outside. So Hindi is not an issue for me. Marathi is not an issue for me. Even Gujarati I can understand. So you could answer in any language. This is not a course in English, or it's not a course in Hindi or Gujarati. This is a course in Python programming language, and our natural languages that we have are only way to communicate, correct, between you and me. So we all are going to communicate with each other using natural languages. So what is programming language? Anybody wants to make a guess? Just unmute yourself and ask. Louder.
It is a way to interact with computer.
It is able to interact with computer. So are we not interacting with computer? I click a mouse somewhere. Are we not interacting with the computer?
Medium of communicate with computer.
It's a medium through which you communicate with the computer. Almost right, but let's express it.
It's
right.
almost the language of a computer that it understands.
So we don't understand?
We understand, but
correct.
our language, the computer can't understand.
Our language, the computer may not be in a position to understand. Our language means the natural language. Right now we are speaking Hindi or Marathi or English or Tamil or Kannada. These are language with which you and me as humans can communicate. Now, if you really want to communicate with the computer and you want to get some work done from the machine, henceforth, if I use the word machine, I mean the computer. And if I mean computer, that need not be. Now, if I use the word computer, what comes to your mind? Yes, what comes to your mind if I use the word computer? Come on, it's a simple question.
Device.
Device means?
A device which has several input devices.
Binary number 0 and 1.
device and zeros and one. What are you talking about?
A
Something which
device
can
which
do
has number
A
of
hardware
input
machine.
devices.
One says hardware machine, and somebody said device which has. Is this not a device?
A device which has number of input devices connected to it.
Okay, device which has number of input devices connected to it.
From
Okay.
small, we have seen that computer as a device which has number of input devices connected to it.
Correct. Okay, but you just have to go beyond that definition henceforth. So when I
Yes,
use
sir.
the word computer, I mean the machine, or if I use the word machine, you need to understand it is any device which has a digital heartbeat. Look at this. This is also a device. What is this?
Fitness band.
Fitbit watch.
Correct. It's also device, and there is also a program which is running. अगर मैं आज अभी का कुछ देखना शुरू करूँ, there is also a program that is running. So this is also a device. This is also a computer for us. Now for us, henceforth, when we use the word computer, don't think about a computer system. If I use the word machine, do not visualize in your mind, we are always talking about a laptop or a desktop or a supercomputer, not necessarily. It can be any machine with a digital heartbeat. It can have very good, very powerful processing, very high processing power, or it may have very little processing power. Now this, in terms of processing and in terms of memory, this is just not comparable with my laptop on which I'm currently working. My laptop is several thousand times much more powerful from the device that this has. But this also has a processing power. Although less, it also has a processing power. My laptop, I can play games. Here also, I can do some stuff. I can set the date, I can set the timer, I can press a button where I can search for my cell phone where it is there. I can see the today's temperature. So there are also programs which are running on this. Today, most of the electronic devices that we have around, including the trucks, the tractors, even the bicycles, the bikes, everything today has a digital heartbeat. So there are microcontrollers, microprocessors. Even if you may have been driving, most of you may have been driving bikes, and while you're driving bike, you have nowadays the digital dashboard that is there. What do you call that? The speedometer which is there. And nowadays it all not just tells you at what speed are you traveling, it also tells you in the given amount of fuel and with the speed that you're traveling, how far will you travel? That kind of calculations are done. Who is sitting inside this? For your bike to tell you in the remaining fuel, how far will you go? That means there has to be some intelligent processing that is happening inside your machine. So today, almost everything is computerized. That means every device today has started becoming intelligent. So there is a processing power that is there. Forget about this COVID situation, which has forced people, companies to cut down on their number of computers that they're installing in the devices, in the cars and everything, because processors today are like short in supply. But then that is not always the case. 2, 3, 5 months down the line, story will again be at normal. So when we talk about programming henceforth, do not restrict your understanding about application of these languages, the codes that we write, only to a laptop or a computer, the PC that we have. Keep yourself open. That means it is for any machine which has a digital heartbeat. Wherever there is a microcontroller or a microprocessor or your virtual processor that you have, there is a digital heartbeat. Small or large program can be written on it. Depends upon what kind of application that you would like to run. Accordingly, you will select a device. So your machine, your computer for us. So if I use the word computer, do not visualize your laptop input output. यहाँ भी input output है, यहाँ भी input output है. Okay, sometimes output रहेगा, input अलग तरीके से रहेगा. The forms of input output devices are input and output are totally changing. Earlier we used to have only the keyboard and the mouse. Now these are most of the real-time machines, the keyboard and mouse will go on. There are different ways the interfacing will be done, but there will be some input, there will be some output that will be there. Now, if these are devices, if this is a computer, if this is a machine that we have, if this is a device that we have, and we would like to write the code or we would like to interact with the device, there is where programming languages will come into picture. I have cited you so many examples, and take my word, almost in all those scenarios, we can use Python. That means we can write the code for embedded in Python. We can write the code for some large web application in Python. You can write the code for networking in Python. Almost everywhere you can go ahead using Python. Python today is prevalent everywhere. Industry is very fast adopting to Python. What are the reasons behind it? I'll share with you in the today's session. What are the reasons why industry is adopting Python at a very high pace? We'll understand today. So what exactly is a programming language? So when we talk about programming language, it is a set of keywords and grammar Like if I talk about English, Hindi, Marathi, here we have words. We say there is a vocabulary. Okay, and मराठीत आपण म्हणतो आपल्याकडे एक शब्द संग्रह आहे. आपल्याकडे we have some set of words, and then there's a grammar which tells us how to use this word. So grammar for your natural language is similar to a syntax for a programming language. There are rules as to how to use those words. Words in our natural language are similar to commands in your programming language. So there are keywords which every word has a meaning. Not right now. Suppose if I call out somebody, if I say Akanksha, which college are you from? So Akanksha, which college are you from? Or if I say Akanksha, stand up. So I have issued Akanksha a command to stand. So she probably may stand. If I say Akanksha, sit down. So if she was there in front of me, she would have sat down. She would have sat down. So this stand up, sit down have some meaning in this language, English language. Correct? So these are words which have a predefined meaning in the language, which we use in a particular format, in a particular syntax to get the work done from that particular fellow. So likewise, when you're computing programming languages, they will also supply you set of keywords. Keywords means the words, commands. And there will also be a grammar as to how to use those commands. And these words, keywords, it's the vocabulary that we have, along with the grammar, we'll use as a programmer, we'll write instructions using them. Like I gave instruction to the Akanksha saying, Akanksha, sit down. That was an instruction that I gave to Akanksha. Likewise, using the programming language, the words the language provides, the syntax that the language provides, using them, we will give instruction to the computer. But keep in mind, computer no longer is the traditional computer that is there in your mind. Henceforth, if I use the word computer, it's a device with a digital heartbeat. जिसके अंदर माइक्रो कंट्रोलर, माइक्रो प्रोसेसर, आपका रेगुलर प्रोसेसर, सुपर कंप्यूटर, whatever it can process instructions. Okay, now it depends upon the power of the machine, the speed with which can process, the kind of instruction that it can process, but उसमें processing power है, वो सारे हमारे लिए computer है. So what is the programming language? It is a set of keywords and the grammar that allows the programmer to write instructions that a computer can execute. So we need to talk to that particular device and get some work done from the device. So we would like to interact with that particular device. आपका जो computer है उसके साथ interact करना है. And computer no longer is a laptop or a desktop or a supercomputer. Computer is any machine that has a digital heartbeat, जिस पे आप कोई instruction run कर सकते हैं. So currently I'm interacting between Hindi and English. So that's a natural language. Unfortunately, machines do not understand natural languages. So we need to have this artificial language that can be used to control the behavior of the machine, particularly the computer. So we are talking about the machine, and that's the computer for us, which has the digital heartbeat. We are not talking about some cycle or something. Oh, nowadays in cycle also we have the chips which are installed. A programming language defines vocabulary. Vocabulary, the set of words, and the set of grammatical rules, the syntax, how to use those words. It's a rule for instructing to a computer to specify, to perform some specific task. So every language, like in English, you have some set of words. If I had to ask you to sit down, the sit down is English word. Baith jao is Hindi word. Bas re baba is Marathi word. So in different languages, different words will be used to convey the same meaning. So every language will provide you some set of keywords. They may have some meaning which is predefined. I cannot, while speaking in English, use the word sit down in some other context. Sit down is sit down. That has a meaning. So you will, these are reserved words. They already have a meaning in that language. So programming languages will provide you some set of words, vocabulary, which are reserved for that language, using which you will form some instructions. And those instructions, while you form, you will give consideration to a grammar, the rule which is there, rules which are there. Like in Hindi, sentence खत्म करने के लिए वो दंडा डालते हो. English में full stop डालते हो. That's a rule. Likewise in COBOL हम लोग full stop डालते हैं. Java में हम लोग semicolon डाल देते हैं. In Python we will not do anything. We'll just go to new line. That's a rule of the language. So every language will have its own set of rules. So we'll have to use the words which are present in the language and the rules of that language, and then get the work, instruct the computer to get some work done. So today, when you look at the market, there are so many different languages which are there. There are hundreds of language, A se leke Z tak, all languages are there. You are here for Python, but there is a camel also that is there. Okay, so almost more than 100 languages which are there. I think the count is much more than that. You'll come across 200-300 languages definitely. And here this small picture, like we have Algol, we have COBOL, we have Fortran, we have Pascal, and these are some popular languages I'm talking about. And nowadays with Python, along with Python, the other language which is becoming very popular is R. So we have R, we have C, we have B, we have D, all languages are there. A, B, C, D, to all have been exhausted. There is assembly, there is ADA, there are Prolog, there are different languages which will serve different purposes. Each language has its own area of application. For this kind of operations, I'll use this language. If I do machine learning, I'll think about learning Lisp. I'm thinking about doing some data processing work. Maybe I'll think about ADA kind of thing. Okay. Or I'll do learn COBOL as well. Recently, COBOL has also got some traction. Again, it is coming into picture. Old languages, which probably those are the languages that I started my career with. I started my career with COBOL and Pascal. Okay, and today they are nowhere to see. And recently, I've seen there is again a search for knowledge of COBOL. So maybe people like me from the old generation will also be having a new opportunity to use COBOL again. And that reminds me, my first application that I sold in the market, I had designed it using COBOL as a language. But then that was somewhere around 1995, a long time back. Okay. So there are different languages which are there. Every language has its own area of application. There are some languages which you use for some purpose. There are some languages which are good for some tasks. Some are not good for some tasks. So it's not like I know Python. So whatever task you give me, I'll do it in Python. No, that's not the case. Okay, you know Java. So whatever task that comes in front of you, you'll start implementing Java. You may be in a position to implement, but the efforts that you'll have to put in, the time that will take will not be really justified. When there is a language which provides support for carrying out that operation, it makes sense for us to use that language to get that particular work done. Data processing, there is a fantastic support that COBOL provides. There's a fantastic support that PLSQL provides. C may not provide. Machine interaction, C may provide a fantastic support that Java may not provide. Correct? Some financial application, Java may provide a fantastic support, which the other Logo may not provide. So you should not fall in love with any particular language. You should think about language as a tool. And you should identify what is the most suitable technology that is there for me to address to this particular problem. If you know it, use it. If you don't know, hire somebody to get that thing, but do not use language or develop software in a language just because you know that language. Use whichever language is most appropriate for that kind of application. You have to use that language. And learning language is quite simple today. It doesn't take much time. Dedicated 100 hours, you can master any language. So there are so many languages which are there in the market. We are talking about Python, and Python has become popular recently. Although Python has become popular recently, it's just not a new language. It has been there for a very long period of time. There was a time when we even thought Python is a dead language. Early days, we learned Python and then thought, nobody uses Python, forget about this language. And suddenly last decade or last 5-10 years, we have seen resurgence. Again, this Python language has come into picture. Okay, and same thing happens with variety of language, that there has to be a right time application where this particular language can be used. This language was developed by Guido van Rossum. That was long time back as a part of the university project, 1990. And most of you may not have been born at that particular point of time. So it is a language which is there, which came into picture even before Java came into picture. Java has been ruling the market for the last 25 years, where Python was nowhere. Now this language is giving Java a tough competition. Okay, rather surprisingly, and today, this month, Java has been displaced by Python, and Python has now become, this month, May of 2021, Python has become the second most popular language in the world, displacing Java. This is the worst performance for Java in last 25 years. Last 25 years, Java was always ranked either first place or second place. And the worst performance for Java is third place. Who has displaced Java to third place? It's Python. But then for last 25 years, both the languages were there. And Java ruled the market those days. Now Python is giving competition to Java. So it's not at all a new language, but it has new application areas which were not existing those days. So now we see areas where Python is very much applicable. So it's a high level general purpose programming language for solving problems on modern computer systems, high level. That means anybody who knows English, even if he looks at the instructions, the instructions will actually make sense to him. The instructions will make sense to him. If anybody has a question, you can just unmute yourself and ask question. It will not be possible for me to read a chat, but you can just unmute and ask a question. Huh? And regarding Vandana's question, which is the topmost language, I'll be sharing you the statistics right now. So wait for 2 minutes. So Python is a high-level language, high-level English-like. That means we'll use English words over here. It is not like I'll write instructions in zeros and one and I'm going to make somebody's life miserable. The programmers and the person who's reading his life miserable. No, it is English-like, English words. So if I write an instruction print, and it makes sense for a person who is non-programming background, he'll also understand print means print karo, dikhao kahi to, he'll understand. So input, anybody will understand. Input means get the input. It's like COBOL, accept and display, input and print. So it's quite high level. We'll use English-like words to get the work done. It's general purpose. That means you can almost do all different types of work in Python. It is not meant for only one particular area. It is general purpose. It can be used for network programming, embedded programming, web development. It can be used in a variety of scenarios for solving problems on modern computer systems. Languages and many supporting tools are free, and Python programs can run on any operating system. This is one of the advantages that I'm going to talk about in Python. If today I'm having a laptop which is running on Windows 10, you may be working on Mac. Somebody else may be working on Solaris. Somebody may be working on Unix. I don't have to teach different Python. The code that we'll discuss over here and the code that I'll share with you, the same code will run on almost every machine in the world where Python is running without a slight change. Python documentation related material can be freely downloaded. We'll visit this particular site. These are big reasons why Python is so very popular. It's open source, it's free. You do not have to pay a single pay for using Python. You can just download and start using it. It's not like Microsoft Technologies where everything you have to pay for. Nowadays, they're also going towards community. But then Python, you can just visit all the resources that one needs to learn Python is available at python.org. Throughout our course, almost every day you will find me visiting this particular site. Why? Because I just do not want you to learn what I teach you. I want you to learn how to learn. I'll tell you why. This is not like mathematics or what you learned in your academics. You learn something and that's fixed. That's not going to change. वो वैसा ही है, वो theorem वैसा है. Salesman का problem देखा, transportation problem you have learned, and 5 years down the line also the transportation problem has to be solved in the same fashion. 20 years back when I learned transportation problem, optimizations, things, it's the same thing, calculus and everything we are applying almost in the same fashion. That's not the case when it comes to programming languages. They evolve. They keep on changing. The last batch that I took was in Python 3.6 and then 3.8, and now we're going to work in 3.9 and above version. So new features will come. Languages are not dead. They're evolving. They will always keep on evolving. So it should not be the case that what I teach you, you keep yourself restricted only to that thing. So I'll teach you how to learn. So I'll share with you as to how to explore to learn. That means go to that documentation site, see what changes happen, read those methods. It is impossible for anybody to know every function, every command that is there in language. They are vast, they are evolving. Command you may know, but the functions that they provide, the ready-made implementation that they give, there are far too many. Nobody can memorize. And I do not want you to memorize. I want you to learn how to find the right thing at the right place. And then you can use it, because if there is an older version, function which is available, and now there is a better implementation for it, which has been given by a different name. So I want you to use the better one, not the one that I have taught you. But then how do you figure out which is the better one? Unless I do not show the authentic stuff on which you should rely, you will be relying. Google search kiya, और जो page पहला आ गया, उस पर से कुछ दिखा, not knowing the credibility of the person who has written that page. Always refer to authentic source. Sandhya Din नहीं पढ़ना है. We'll rely on Times of India. We'll rely on Washington Post, the best of the newspaper, Indian Express, not something like a local newspaper which has no credibility in the market. So even when you're reading some source, we'll read the data documentation from the source. Source means the Python Foundation itself, the one who are creating this stuff. I'll show you where you can look out for PEP, the Python enhancement proposals which are there. They introduce various concepts. They give you the reasons behind why this concept has been introduced. So we should be aware of them. Authentic literature is what we should read. And that is something which is available at this particular site, python.org. So what is Python? It's easy to learn, powerful, general purpose programming language that blends procedural, functional, object-oriented, everything. Means while you express your ideas, listen to me, don't read about this, just listen to me. While you express your ideas, while you're about to solve a problem, there are different ways in which you can design your solution. Now, when you talk about designing a solution, how you express your idea, you can use a procedural way of expressing, like you write step number 1, then step number 2, then step number 3, then step number 4. Sequence mein aap chal rahe ho. That's the old style of writing the code. All instructions written one below other to get some work done. That probably can be a procedural way of doing the thing. Late 60s ka idea hai, 1960s ka idea hai. Then came a concept of object-oriented, where we look at it as object and then design the solution by using identifying objects which are interacting with each other. Abhi mere samne Abhishek hai, Ajit hai. Ajit and Abhishek both are friends. They're interacting with each other. I'm their teacher. I'm teaching them. They're asking me questions. So we are objects of different class. We are interacting with each other. जैसे real world में interaction होता है, उसे model करना है object-oriented concept. But world has moved ahead from object-oriented to functional programming. Python supports all styles. So you want to write the code in the old style, procedural language, where it is applicable, use procedural stuff. If you want to write the code in object-oriented style, use that. If you want to write the code in the functional style, use that. Python is flexible. It says whichever style of coding you want to use, depending on what is the task that you're trying to do, which is applicable, Python will provide you support for writing code in either of the style. In our course, when we learn Python, we'll rather focus on the procedural style of coding, and then we'll go ahead with object-oriented style of coding. Okay, and a bit of functional coding at the end we may do, but then our major focus will be on procedural, and then later we'll move on to object-oriented style of coding. And now I feel we have to go in for functional style of coding also. So I'll give you a glimpse about how functional style of coding can also be done in Python. It provides high-level efficient data structures. Means what? When you start writing codes in Python, suppose you're working in some other language. You're working in language like C or C++, and you have to do some work. So there is a lot of instructions that you have to write. The biggest reason why complaint that people make about C++ Java is they are too bulky. We have to write too much of code to get some work done. In Python, anybody amongst you who must have done C language, and agar data structure kya rahega, to create a simple linked list in data structure, we have to write 150 lines of code and then use the linked list. Here in Python, list L is equal to our friend list is equal to list. Aage list ready. For what you could return 150 lines of code and then you could create a list in C. Here in one line, you can finish with this work. That means all the common data structures that we require, all the common concepts that we need to express our ideas are all ready-made in Python. They are already implemented and provided off the shelf. Uthao, use karo. The challenge for the Python developer is not to use a data structure, ready-made solution. Challenge over here is to select the right data structure, right solution, because there are so many alternatives which are available. Think about your maths concept. You have a sequence, you have a set, you have a, so should I use a set? Should I use a list? Should I use a tuple? What should I use? So everything, there is a dictionary, everything is on the shelf. Now challenge for the Python program is to use the right thing at the right place. So in this particular course, it is always good, agar is course ke baad agar aap data structure वगैरह पढ़ते हो तो you'll have a deep understanding. But even no, suppose you do not plan to learn data structures. So in this course, while we learn these data types, I'll be emphasizing about the properties of these things. It has to do a lot with mathematics, what you learn, but I'll be discussing about the properties. उन properties को कभी भूलना नहीं है कि what is that this data structure provides us. Set create करोगे तो it's a collection of unique elements. डुप्लीकेट एलिमेंट्स नहीं रहेंगे. तो अगर मुझे ऐसा कोई कलेक्शन क्रिएट करना है जिसमें मुझे डुप्लीकेट एलिमेंट स्टोर नहीं करने हैं, सिर्फ यूनिक एलिमेंट स्टोर करने हैं, तब मैं उसका इस्तेमाल करूंगा, काइंड ऑफ थिंग. सो आई विल बी टेलिंग यू रूल्स जो आपको याद रखने होंगे. क्रिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं है, इट इज ऑल रेडीमेड. जस्ट पिक इट फ्रॉम द शेल्फ, उठाओ, काम अप्लाई करो एंड देन स्टार्ट यूजिंग इट. डू नॉट हैव टू इम्प्लीमेंट एनीथिंग फ्रॉम स्क्रैच. Don't have to implement. There is no point in reinventing the wheel. You say, sir, I implement linked list. I said, thank you, good. That's for your confidence. Don't use it. There is a ready-made list which is there in Python, which has been created by the best of the developers in the world. It has been tested for last 20 years, and that is reliable than the code that you write. So do not reinvent the wheel. That doesn't mean we should never write it. We should write it so that we understand the internal mechanism, but rely on the one that has been provided by them. If the one that is provided doesn't suit your requirement, then you can customize and create your own data structure. But for most of the requirement, the data structures that they have provided, Python language has provided, that will almost fulfill all your requirements. तो आपको खुद होके कुछ नया implement करने की जरूरत normally नहीं पड़ेगी in Python. Almost all your requirements are taken care of. So there are a lot of high-level data structures that are made available to us when it comes to Python. They are all ready-made, and since they are ready-made, they are there. We just have to select them and start using them. So life becomes very easy as a Python programmer. Python interpreter, the Python interpreter and extensive standard library, which is freely available on all the major platforms from Python website. यानी अगर आप python.org पे जाओगे तो python.org पे आपको Python डाउनलोड करने भी मिलेगा for various versions. So let's visit python.org. So let's go to python.org. Can you see the browser that I have opened? Can you see the browser that I opened? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you go to python.org,
Yes, sir.
अगर मुझे डाउनलोड करना है तो I can download the latest version of Python, Python 3.9. ये आपको डाउनलोड करना ही है. I'll be sharing a link with you, so don't have to worry. I'll be sharing the link with you. So आपको यहाँ के डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना है, डॉक्यूमेंट डाउनलोड करना है Python. सॉरी यहाँ से नहीं, यहाँ जाके Python डाउनलोड करना है. एंड यू हैव Python फॉर वेरियस ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, विंडोज के लिए है, मैक के लिए है, फॉर अदर प्लेटफॉर्म्स है. व्हेन आई से अदर प्लेटफॉर्म्स, देयर आर प्लेटफॉर्म्स दैट यू मे नॉट इवन हैव हर्ड ऑफ. आपको मालूम भी नहीं रहेगा कि ऐसे ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स होते हैं. एंड Python will run on all these platforms. So the code that I teach you, some of you tomorrow, if you're working on this IBM I series machines, there also the same code will work. You don't really have to write the code again. So it will work on all platforms. Common concept, common is like Windows, the Mac, the Linux. These are common things which are there. But then the code that we write in Python will work on any machine that is there. Here 3.9, when you say, it says cannot be used with Windows 7 or earlier. There are some latest features. So latest operating system के लिए है, but you will also have the older version. So अगर आपको पुराने versions of Python चाहिए, that is also available. These are the operating systems for which you can download. And if you want to have some previous versions, so here you have the older versions also which are available. So you can download them. Okay, not just that. The best part over here is this documentation that is available. So if I click on this doc and you want to know what is the new thing in Python 3.9, that's where my study begins. And these are Python enhancement proposal. तो पता चल जाता है कि Python में नया feature क्या introduce हुआ है. It's not like new version has come in, so चलो अभी नया class join करो. No. Once you learn Python, enhancement is like whatever problems that we have identified earlier, now they are providing a support for it. They are providing some new solution for it. So when you switch over from one version to another, it should take you not more than 1 or 2 days to explore, अरे नया क्या आ चुका है. One promise that Python Foundation has made. Since Python 3.0, they have made a promise to all the Python developers, which was not the promise earlier. I'll tell you what used to happen earlier. Before Python 3.0, if I write the code in Python 2.6, some syntax, I was not provide a promise that Python ke 2.7 mein same syntax will carry forward or not. No promise. So that feature may be there or not there. With 3.0, they have provided a promise. They may provide new feature, or they are providing new feature, but whatever has been provided post 3.0, the syntax as to how to use it will remain constant throughout. यानी अगर Python 5 ही आ जाता है फ्यूचर में, 3.0 का कोड उसमें रन कर जाएगा. That's a promise. So backward compatible up to 3.0. Backward compatible up to 3.0. उसके पीछे की मालूम नहीं, but 3.0 तक backward compatible है. तो whatever was introduced 5 years back, that will run even today. Nowadays the cycle is becoming very fast. बहुत जल्दी नए versions आ रहे. September we got this thing 3.8 and now next September आया भी नहीं and June ही है, June, July, August, September. एक साल के अंदर अभी नया 3.9 भी आ रहा है. So cycle is going fast, world is moving fast, newer versions are released. So that should not create a fear in your mind. अरे यार, I learned Python 3.9. By the time the course completed, Python 4 आ गया है. And now what do I do? No worry. 3.9 will be supported in 4.0 completely, and 4.0 will not be totally new version. Few features here and there that will be added, and that you can explore on your own. You do not have to come down to me or go anywhere else to explore those new features. I do not want you to do that. So that's the reason I'll be constantly taking you to the docs and showing you how do I keep myself abreast with Python. And so you will also have to keep yourself updated with the changes which are happening in this particular, and it's very easy to do that. Rather, you will be fascinated to know that. And while you learn these new features, it is not even necessary कुछ नया आया है तो I need to implement, I need to master, I need to practice. You just have to understand what is the problem that this new feature addresses to. ये कहाँ applicable है, कौन सा problem solve करता है, मालूम होना चाहिए. So tomorrow if you face that problem, you know, अरे उसके लिए कोई तो solution है. You can open up the doc and see how to use that particular thing. So it's not even necessary that every new feature comes in, I have to try it out. I have to spend my time. 2 रात उसमें बैठेंगे और वो सारा कोड लिख के देखेंगे. Not at all necessary. I see उसका जो introduction होता है वो पढ़ लीजिएगा. वो documentation होता है. It's not more than 2-3 pages. Just read it. Understand what problem does it address to. एक बार आपको understand हो गया, and I always keep a notebook. So do you will also have to keep a notebook. नोटबुक है, कोर्स में नोटबुक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड व्हाट इज न्यू थिंग्स दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड, यू हैव टू इमीडिएटली मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट. क्या रे, आई अंडरस्टूड कि दिस इज अ न्यू फीचर, कि डेट डालना है, वो अपडेट करके रखना है. तो टुमारो व्हेन यू फेस अ प्रॉब्लम एंड यू हैड, हाँ कहीं तो पढ़ा था मैंने, ये नया फीचर आ चुका है या ऐसा कुछ सोल्यूशन है पाइथन में, तो ओपन अप द नोटबुक, सी दैट थिंग एंड देन प्रोसीड फर्दर. वन थिंग दैट यू शुड नेवर रिलाई अपॉन, एक चीज पे बिल्कुल भरोसा नहीं करना है, वो अपने मेमोरी पे है, समय पे दगा दी जाएगी. ओके, सो ऑलवेज रिकॉर्ड द थिंग्स. तो आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू हु विल कंटिन्यू फॉर दिस कोर्स टू हैव अ नोटबुक. नोट कीपिंग इज समथिंग विच इज अ मस्ट. यू मे से सर आप नोट सप्लाई कर ही रहे हो, आई स्टिल वांट यू टू स्क्रिबल डाउन इवन ड्यूरिंग द सेशन what do you understand, what are the key points. Not everything that I say will be supplied to in form of notes, right? Presentation chalu hai, but there are some points on the presentation I am going beyond presentation, correct? So you have to make a note of those things, at least the key point. अगर आपने हेडिंग भी लिख के रखा ना कि अरे हाँ, this is the topic that we have discussed, oh this is the key feature that I understood today, this was my aha moment today, I understood this. तो नोट करके रखो, so that when you look at your notes, the best way to revise a concept is not by looking anybody's note. Even Guido goes at giving, the Python creator gives his notes, that is not enough. Aapke notes are your notes. You will understand best from your way, the way you have noted your understanding. So make sure that all of you maintain the notes, come what may. That's the only way I can assure you by the end of the course aapko sab kuch yaad kar sakenge, revise kar sakenge, provided you have a notebooks. And I'll share my experience with my students 20 years back also, what notes that they still carry those notes, and it helps them to revise that concept very easily, quickly. Yeah. So there are various versions of Python which are currently there in the market. Python 2 is also there and Python 3 is also there. Now we are talking about Python 3. I'm saying very soon we'll have Python 4 also that is coming into the market. Then why should we bother about Python 2? There are reasons. Not every time you will have an opportunity to work on the latest project. Say we have Anuja with us. Anuja and her team, Anuja, Anant, Amay, इनके टीम ने 4 साल पहले 5 साल पहले एक प्रोजेक्ट डेवलप किया था in Python 2.7. And it's working fine. That project, the code that they have written is fulfilling their requirement even today. 2.7 में सही काम कर रहा है. Now Ajit joins their team, and Ajit goes from impetus कहते हुए, सर मैंने तो Python 3.9 में लिखा है, आप क्या है पुराने वर्जन पे लिख रहे हो? They had written 1 million lines of code. Are you going to translate that 1 million lines of code into new version 3.9? Not possible. So you'll rather maintain the same code base. Correct? So even if it's an older version, there are systems which are created in 1960s and 70s that are still maintained today. 4 साल 5 साल पहले की बात क्या बात कर रहे हो? तो today when you work, 3.5 and 3.0 are very popular. Okay, they are very stable versions. तो उसमें भी कोड लिखा हुआ क्या? Python 2.7 one of the most popular versions of Python that was there. तो probably आपको 4 साल के बाद भी 2.7 का कोड मेंटेन करने आ जाए आपके सामने. That can happen. So it is very much possible that older versions are also there, and Python 2.7 के लिए अभी support available नहीं है. Then it is more dependent on the developer. The industry, the Python Foundation doesn't no longer provide support for Python 2. Most recent versions of Python available are 2.7.115 and 3.9. And when you talk about this Python 2, last year itself, 1st January 2020, they had declared end of life cycle. That means the foundation is no longer going to provide support. The creators of Python will not provide support for 2.7. अगर आपके team ने unfortunately 2.7 में code design किया है, now you and your team are supposed to take care of it. But then there also lies an opportunity. अगर आपको Python 2.7 भी आता है, यानी 9 आ रहा है तो 2.7 भी आएगा. Some features will not be there, but you can very easily adjust. Syntax has not changed totally. Some changes are there, but you can still adopt and you can maintain older systems as well. But now today, henceforth, nobody may design a new software in 2.7 and thing. We'll definitely be using only the newer versions of Python. So it is necessary for us to be aware of the latest version. And we are, for this course, we are going to use 3.9 only. That doesn't mean you will see, sir, aapka version to 3.8 hai. Till the time I am not using a feature from 3.9, why do I need to switch over to 3.9 and show you? So as long as I'm teaching you features which works on both the version, doesn't really matter. My 3.8 pe, on my machine I have 3.8.5 which is installed, not 9.5. Doesn't really matter. The day when I'm going to show you that new feature of 3.9, what feature, if I feel it is interesting enough to be discussed, then I'll switch over to that version and see. And there are ways which I'm going to teach you, wherein you don't even have to install new version and you can still try out new version. Installation ki zarurat nahi hai. If you have very good internet connectivity, that's good enough. You can try out all Python commands without installing Python on your machine. Okay, we are going to also use various interfaces. One of them, what we are going to use is a notebook. And in notebook, not the notebook that I showed you, there is a Jupyter notebook wherein you don't have to install Python, and a click of button you can start using Python, test all the codes in Python in the notebook. Rather, the first 5 sessions of our course will be there on the notebook. Then later I'll go into IDLE. Then I'll go in for Spider, Spider being my favorite IDE. But I want you to be familiar with different interfaces. It's not कि पूरा course एक ही Spider, पूरा course Jupyter में है तो पूरा course Jupyter में ही कर लिया. It has its own application areas. So I want you to be comfortable at least with 3-4 different interfaces. तो 3 का तो promise है. हो सके तो Visual Studio में भी कोई 2-4 कोड लिख देंगे. तो interface doesn't matter. We are here to learn language. But if the interface change, we shouldn't get confused. At the end of the day, interface that we are going to have, the IDs that we are going to have, they're just going to help us write the code. कोड क्या लिखना है वो तो मैं सिखा ही रहा हूँ, कहाँ लिखना है वो बात अलग है, अलग अलग जगह पे लिख के देखेंगे, and I will learn how to run that particular code. So somebody was asking me about the ranking. Okay, so today if you look at the highest position that Python has gone since 2001, जब तक ranking में count करना शुरू कर लिया लोगों ने, it is the second position that Python has reached. And when is that? This month, this last month, एक दिन पहले, second position in May 2021. It has displaced Java. Last 25 years, Java की जो जगह है उसे Python ने displace कर लिया है. Doesn't mean Python will remain there. वो up and down तो होते रहता है. That will happen. But then it's a big achievement for Python. If you look 5 years back, the story where Python was and today where Python is, the story has totally changed. So it is the second most popular language in the world today. And lowest position that it has ever got, that means it is among the first topmost 15 language for all these years. 2003 में it was ranked 13. And 3 से लेके 21 तक 17 years, it has now gone to second position. And it was also identified as language of the year. Now, when you say language of the year, that means उस साल उसने, that language has shown biggest increase in the percentage growth. उसे language of the year. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि that was the topmost language in the year. Percentage growth, ज़्यादा लोग use करने लगे. Percentage growth was highest in 2007, 2010, 2018, and even 21. Actually, I forgot to write about 21. It has shown more than 2.7% growth in 2.7. If you look at the stage that is there today, this is latest statistic of May 2021. Okay, C being the most popular language. People say C is dead, an old generation language. पढ़ना नहीं है. And it's still ruling the market. Last 40 years, it's either first position or second position. And even today. So those who tell you C is a dead language, C+ a dead language, don't look them at again for any guidance in terms of computing. They are very much to stay over here at least till the time the machine architecture doesn't change. See, last year also first position, today also it's first position. And percentage देखोगे, it has dropped 3% से कम हो गया, यानी 16% तक था, huge. Okay, but this goes up and down. Python last year say 2.7% का growth हुआ है, 11%. That means it was somewhere around 9% second. And Java has lost around 5%. That is the biggest drop. But then with the new version of Java coming in, it will again go back to the second position. And then C++. So for last 25 years, it was C, C++, Java. And today one more has come to their family is Python. Okay. And then when you look at other languages, they are also worth mentioning till JavaScript 2.5% around, where C is more than 13%. ये 2.7% assembly 10, and इसके नीचे जाने में तो कोई point नहीं है. SQL, these are language which has specific application area. SQL also very popular, but percentage wise देखोगे तो 1.71, 1.51, and so on. I have just ranked the first 12 languages, and there's not much change which has happened in the first 4-5 languages, except for Python. Python was never there among those first few languages. And last few years, 5 years, we saw it coming to third position, displacing C++ last year. Now it has displayed Java. Who knows, it will display C also tomorrow. But even if it displays C, it is still, all these 4 languages are almost in the same ballpark. यानी एक जैसे इतने ही popular है. So if you master the first 4 languages, you have enough of scope in the market. And if you see the trend since last 25 years, कैसे हो रहा है? This green line indicates Java. 25 years back, in 2002, 20 years back, Java was at least 25% of the global market share, huge percentage share, isn't it? At that time, C was around 20% of the global market share. And where was Python those days? Python was somewhere around 0 point something market share. And look at the growth of the Python, black color line. Last few years, 2018 के बाद देखो तो ये exponential growth है. Last 2 साल में देखो कहाँ से जा रहा है. 2018 कहाँ है और 2018 के बाद ये कहाँ चला जा चुका है. Correct? So 2010 we saw a surge. Then it was low. It has gone up. But Java, Python, C also has seen drop. kabhi C has come down to below 5%, then again it has gone up. Java has also seen up and down. So this keeps on happening. But then अगर आप first few languages देखोगे, C, C++, Java, ये तीन देखोगे, they are there on the top 3 for a very long time. And the first 4 other language could be either C# or Visual Basic, they are there. So not much change which is happening. And today C happens to the topmost language. Java and C++ almost, Java and Python almost similar, followed by C++. So if you know this first few languages, you have enough of opportunity in the market. And it's not even like अगर आपने Python सीखा है तो इंडस्ट्री में जाके आपको Python में ही कोड करना है. Keep that thing in mind. You may say, sir, फिर Python क्यों पढ़ना है? I'll tell you why. You learn different languages, so you are exhibiting your skill, ability to acquire new techniques. You learn Python, you are very good at Python. So tomorrow Python की जगह मुझे Jython में भी काम करना. I know this fellow can learn Python so very well. If I teach him Jython, he can learn that language also very well. You learn Java, you show your skills in Java. तो as a company I know, अरे इसने Java इतना बढ़िया किया है, तो मैं इसका Kava भी पढ़ाऊंगा कल, तो he can learn Kava and he can get that work done. Languages are only tools. You have to exhibit your ability to master those tools so that industry gets confidence in you. Tomorrow, if you have to ask to work on any particular technology, you can do it efficiently. It's all about problem solving. It's all about ideas. Which language you use doesn't really matter. क्या पता आज Akash is working on a Python project and his boss will say, Akash, coming Monday, 10th of June, you'll be working on Java. That happens in the industry. They will give you 20 days. अगले महीने you start working on a Java project. And then you may not be knowing Java ka J, but you have to master, you have to learn. So today's generation is all about quickly learning, adapting to the new skill set. So if you know the fundamentals of the language, आपको मालूम है loops क्या है, आपको मालूम है arrays क्या है, आपको मालूम है data structure क्या है, what remains? Java में ये कैसे करना है, C++ में कैसे करना है, इसमें differences क्या है? You can very quickly learn new languages. For me to today learn new language doesn't take much time. Why? Because I know what to expect out of a language. So I try and see to it, ये language में ये काम कैसे किया जा सकता है, and then it's matter क्या रहता है syntax का, and syntax के लिए तो documentation available है, we can quickly learn those things. So we have to have that ability to quickly adopt to new technologies. Correct? Python is one place where we will master one technology, and very probably you will get to work on Python for a very long period of time. Now it is catching up in the market. और आज अगर बहुत ज़्यादा कोड लिखा जाता है in Python, that is there to stay for another 15 years. ये समझ के लो. अगर मैं कहता हूँ C का कोड आज मेंटेन हो रहा है, तो आज Python का कोड अगले 10 साल मेंटेन होने वाला है. Okay, nobody's going to throw away that code base if they develop some serious softwares inside it using that technology. So the basic technology will there, it will evolve. आपको evolve तो आपको भी करना है, but then your knowledge will not go waste. So when you talk about Python, why learn Python? अगर मैं ये पूछा जाए, तो first it is easy. Easy to what? It is easy to read, easy to code. So for writing the program also it's easy. And for a person who has never seen a Python code, if I show you the code right away, most of you, the code will make sense. अगर आपने जिंदगी में Python का कोड देखा भी नहीं रहेगा, even then it will make sense for you. Because the statements will go something like this. Input, please enter the number. Okay, or print, please enter the number. Input, get the number. And then addition of two numbers is so and so. It is easy to understand. It's easy to write. High level English like words are there. No zeros and one, nothing of that sort. It's easy to understand, easy to read. You may say, easy to code तो सही है, easy to read क्यों? अरे most of the time you will be working on a code base that is already been designed by somebody. तो दूसरे ने लिखा हुआ कोड भी हमें समझ में आना चाहिए. ये नहीं कि हम ही लिख पा रहे हैं. तो Python is easy to read and easy to code as well. It's free and open source. And there is a very good large community that will provide you support for any feature that you want to learn in Python. You have a proposal. आपको लगता है Python में support चाहिए. You can submit your proposal. That is taken into consideration. और शायद आपका proposal इतना strong रहेगा that is introduced as a feature in Python language as well. The community of Python is very big. Take my word, this community is very big. And it can compete with the big guys like Microsoft and things. Microsoft, if suppose for the technology that they're designing, suppose Microsoft C# technology and .NET framework को maintain करता है. How many people they may have deployed in .NET technology? 100, 200, 400, 500, 1000, 2000, 5000. How many people? Okay. But then when it comes to this free and open source, you and me and everybody in the world can contribute to Python. So there is a huge community that is there who are passionate about introducing new features in Python, giving suggestions as to what can be introduced in Python. So Python is constantly evolving because there is so much of involvement from the community who are not paid anything. They are only given credit कि ये feature इसकी वजह से आ गया है. I can just show you the pep and where if you can also become famous internationally overnight. अगर आपका proposal accept किया जाता है, you give a proposal. Suppose Akash gives a proposal कि Python में ये feature चाहिए था, ये feature introduce करेंगे Python में तो Python इतना popular हो जाएगा, इससे इतना convenience मिल जाएगा, and he gives the total report of it. And the foundation realizes Akash का proposal बढ़िया है, they adopt that proposal. But the moment they adopt the proposal, they give credit कि ये proposal आकाश ने दिया था और हमने adopt किया है. तो किसी अगर future में किसी कंपनी को वो feature चाहिए तो दुनिया में best person कौन है जो इसमें guide कर सकेगा? The person who gave that proposal. So you open up new opportunities for you just by even if Python community doesn't pay you a single penny, even then you become very popular across the globe, and it opens new avenues for your growth as well. So there is a large community which contributes to Python constantly, and it's expressive. I told you about example of list I gave you. C में अगर कोई कोड लिखता है 150 लाइन का कोड लिखो, फिर लिस्ट यूज करना शुरू करो. And if I'm a Python developer, एक लाइन में लिस्ट रेडी, डिक्शनरी चाहिए एक लाइन में डिक्शनरी. All high level data structures available. Coding is quick, fast. You have to write very less line of code. Just to give a ऐसे एक general idea. If it requires me say around 50 lines of code to get the work done in C, I can done in 1/5 lines of code in Python. 50 लाइन C के, 10 लाइन Python के. Now you may say, sir, उससे क्या होता है? There are multiple advantages of doing so. If I can write less and get more work done, first, the efforts that I put in to develop the code, that goes down. Number of lines are less. Okay, efforts कम है. And efforts is directly proportional cost. Efforts कम है यानी time भी कम है. And system में जितने ज़्यादा देर अपना developer, I have a developer that is Aman. I pay him lakh रुपये as a salary. और एक हफ्ता भर एक ही प्रोजेक्ट एक ही टास्क पे काम कर रहा है, हफ्ते भर का 25,000 का तो एक बंदे का कॉस्ट हो गया. अगर उसने 2 दिन में काम खत्म किया, my cost is less, so my profit also increase as a company. One. Second thing is, when we write the code in Python, we said less instructions है. तो even if I write the code, अगर मुझे उस कोड को डिबग करना है, उस कोड को मुझे टेस्ट करना है, अरे number of lines to test is also less. So time that is taken to deliver the software, that also comes down. जल्दी से जल्दी आप सॉफ्टवेयर डिजाइन करके डेवलप करके दे सकते हैं क्लाइंट को. और आजकल क्लाइंट को तो टाइम ही नहीं है. आज रिक्वायरमेंट देते हैं और चाहते हैं कल सॉफ्टवेयर आप डिलीवर करो. तो अगर कम लाइन का कोड रहेगा तो आप जल्दी डिलीवर कर पाएंगे सॉफ्टवेयर. सो देयर आर इमीडिएट एडवांटेज ऑफ राइटिंग द कोड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर फैशन. अगर लेस लाइन्स ऑफ कोड्स हैं, इट इज पोर्टेबल. राइट वंस, रन एनीवेयर. यू हैव अ विंडोज मशीन, you write the code on Windows machine, client has Linux machine, don't have to make a change. That code will run on Linux kya, Mac kya, whichever OS that the client has, that code will run anywhere. Okay, even if it's not a computer, अगर कोई डिवाइस है जिसपे कोई प्रोप्राइटरी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है, वहां पाइथन रन करता है तो आपका पाइथन का मशीन है तो वहां वो भी रन कर जाएगा. इट इज इंटरप्रेटेड. अगर आप सी में कोड लिखते हो, जावा में कोड, सी में कोड लिखते हो तो पहले उसे कंपाइल करो, फिर उसे लिंक करो, फिर उसे रन करो. यू मे से सर हमने तो ऐसा नहीं किया. आपको पता नहीं, आप ऐसा सब कुछ करते हो. जब आप जीसीसी वगैरह लिखते हो, इट वो पहले प्री प्रोसेस करता है, फिर कंपाइल करता है, फिर लिंक करता है, असेंबल करता है, फिर लिंक करता है, एंड देन समडे डाउन द लाइन 2 दिन के बाद उसे रन कर देता है. पाइथन में ऐसा नहीं है. यू राइट अ कोड, इवन इफ देयर इज एन एरर, लाइन नंबर 50 हैव कमिटेड एरर, तो लाइन नंबर 49 तक रन कर जाएगा. 50 पे एरर तो वहां रुक जाएगा. तो इट्स लाइक एडिट कंपाइल रन साइकिल. आई टॉक मोर अबाउट दिस पाइथन इंजन लेटर. नेक्स्ट सेशन हम लोग पाइथन के इंटरनल में जाएंगे. But meanwhile, let's not go into internals. How Python runs is the next part of तीन एक सेशंस रहेंगे हमारे इंट्रोडक्शन के, where I'll tell you some fantastic features about Python, कि ये Python क्यों स्पेशल है, and what makes Python special is what I'm going to talk about. So it's an interpreter. You don't have to compile, although we can compile. Look at it. We do not have to compile, although we can compile. I'll also teach you how to compile Python code. That also we'll learn. But normally we write a code. It's like edit, compile, run cycle. That means it will read the code, interpret the code, execute that code. So linking का टाइम नहीं रहेगा. Python runs faster in that case. Object oriented. Now if you talk about modeling real life world, like कोई बैंकिंग ऑपरेशन है, कोई फाइनेंस की कंपनी है, और जैसा रियल वर्ल्ड में जैसे लोग इंटरेक्ट करते हैं एक दूसरे से, the way various objects interact with each other, we would also want to exhibit similar kind of interaction in the code. Means object oriented language. Okay, I grew up working on object oriented languages. Object-oriented language give you an opportunity to model the way the things happen in the real world. You can actually express the things exactly in the same fashion in the code. If you see there is a team which is playing against each other, you see those games that you play where there is you attack enemy and the enemy hits you back and so on. These are two objects which are interacting with each other. So object-oriented languages gives you an opportunity to express the real world scenarios very well. And it can be any relationship that you may have. Okay. Say Amay and Ananta friends. So we can express that relationship which is there. Anuja uses Arya for some purpose. She some way gets some work done from Arya. That can be expressed. Utilization, that can be expressed. So, and Rishikesh is son of somebody else. Okay, somebody. I have a father from where I come. I have inherited something. So all the real world scenarios which are there, relationships which are there, we can express using object-oriented language, and it's very, very difficult in a lot of different languages. And Python gives you an opportunity to express the real life relations. And so you can express the way the things happen in the real world. Your program will appear exactly in the same fashion. ऐसा नहीं कि आपका real world का experience कुछ और है और program में आप और कुछ लिख रहे हो. If you are a keen observer, अगर आप दुनिया को ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं कीनली कि कैसे वो लोग एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरेक्ट करते हैं, कैसे वो चीजें एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट करती है, इफ यू कैन ऑब्जर्व देम केयरफुली, यू कैन एक्सप्रेस द सेम थिंग इन योर प्रोग्राम. सो की ओवर हियर इज कीन ऑब्जर्वेशन. आपको ऑब्जर्व करने आना चाहिए द वे द थिंग्स आर देयर इन द रियल वर्ल्ड. हाई लेवल programmer friendly English like words, so anybody who can read and write English will find it very easy for him to write a program. Huge standard library. You need not read to reinvent the wheel. कोई कोड दोबारा लिखने की जरूरत नहीं. Almost everything that you will think about writing, you will find implemented in Python, already there in the Python. You just have to use it. अगर मैं इस standard library के beyond जाऊँ, you'll be surprised. I'll just show you what kind of support Python provides, and it's mesmerizing. यानी we get lost in using ready-made features. इतने सारे features Python देता है. But standard library is also huge, which comes bundled along with Python. That means for all kind of operations that you have need, there is a solution that is there in Python. अगर आपको नेट से कनेक्ट करना है, there is a ready-made solution that is there. अगर आपको lower level disk के साथ interact करना है, there is a solution which is there. आपको operating system के साथ interact करना है, there is a solution. आपको network के साथ interact करना है, there is a solution in Python. Standard library. You don't have to import nothing. Direct import में थोड़ा सा करना पड़ता है, but you don't have to download or something like that. Download करने जाओगे तो और भी कुछ possible है. Extensible. से दो चीजें हैं, embeddable and extensible. Extensible, like you are writing a Python program, correct? And Python has some restrictions. एक हाथ कोई काम ऐसा भी है जो Python नहीं कर सकता है. And you realize C can do it, or Java can do it, or C++ can do it. What can you do? Inside Python code, you can write a C code, or a Java code, or a Python code, or C++ code. And Python code will have some task, some Java code inside it, and the Java will get the work done जो Python नहीं कर सकता था. Extensible. So you can extend the जो Python की power नहीं है, you can extend its ability. Extensible. कैसे extend कर सकते हैं? By adding some code in other language inside Python program. So अगर आपने Python program के अंदर C का कोड ऐड कर लिया, तो रन तो Python का ही कोड कर रहे हैं ना, तो इंटरनली वो C को बुला के आपको काम करके दे रहा है. That means Akash couldn't do some work, so he calls Arya and Arya gets the work done for Akash. But मैंने तो आकाश को काम दिया था, मेरे लिए तो आकाश ने काम कर दिया है. तो likewise a programmer may run Python code, but the Python internally is calling C code to get some work done. That always happens. Extensible है. You can extend the ability of Python. जो Python नहीं कर पाता है, चलो फिर कौन सा language कर सकता है? तो I can add that language inside Python and get the wonder. Other way around is also possible. It's embeddable. You are writing a C program and you thought C program के अंदर ये Python का ready-made library है, क्यों ना उसका इस्तेमाल करें? तो inside C code I can put Python code also. That's also available. Okay, and when I was talking that huge library support that is available, oh, with all these advantages, there is downside as well. Okay, so everything is not good. कि अरे इसमें कोई drawback है ही नहीं. So everything is like fantastic. सब अच्छी चीजें ही है. No drawbacks. ऐसा भी नहीं है. There are some drawbacks for Python as well. And the biggest drawback for Python is interpreted. You may not be compiling Python code every now and then. तो Python अगर interpreted है, तो there is a problem. Problem क्या है? What kind of problem we can face? The only significant universal downside to Python is that universal, किसी भी machine पे run करो. As currently implemented, its execution speed may not always be as fast as that of fully compiled low-level language C++, which directly map to underlying hardware. अगर आप C++ की बात करते हो, the code which is created is highly optimized to suit to the hardware on which it is going to run. यानी C का code post compilation जो code होता है, that is different for Windows and that's different for Linux and that's different for Macs. अगर आपका machine architecture अलग है, you have an IBM PC and somebody X has some other PC, some other machine. So when you compile the C code using variety of compilers, cross compilers, the kind of code that will generate will be such that that platform will understand. It's specific to that platform. It's something like this. Let's take an example. Suppose we have with us कोई साउथ इंडियन है क्या हमारे पास आज लेक्चर में? एनीबडी? एक भी साउथ इंडियन नहीं आज? Normally that doesn't happen. Okay, we have excuse me if I spell you pronounce you wrong. Bireshish Das. We have Bireshish Das. Assume Das comes from Orissa. I don't know where he comes from. कहाँ से आए Das आप originally?
Assam.
Assam से. All the more better. Das comes from Assam. And we have Disha Jadhav from Maharashtra, from Satara. Now Disha Jadhav knows only Marathi and Das knows only Assami. Assami. कौन सा language है आपका?
Assamese और Bengali.
Okay, Bengali है, Assami है. आपको Assamese आता है. And Disha knows only Marathi. Now, can they both communicate with each other?
No.
No, they can. So if they were not been in a position to communicate, your prime minister has visited more than 100 countries last 5 years. वहाँ जाके क्या घूम फिर के आ गए क्या? He has been talking to people around
with the help of translators.
With the help of translator. So when the translator comes into picture, what is happening is it's taking more time for the communication. So we have this Disha who has to talk to Das. So I am the translator in between. So she will talk to me. I'll translate it and then told Das in Assami. And then Das gives a response. Then I'll translate it into Marathi and then talk to her. Communication is being possible. But जो interpreter है बीच में, when we go through the interpreter, that's taking more time. But if Disha can speak Assami or Das could speak Marathi, that means your language could talk to the hardware directly. Will the communication may not be faster?
Yes.
Yes. And that's precisely the difference that happens over here. In Python, there is an intermediate layer. Somebody who will do some work in between. With C++, that's not the case. They will directly talk to the hardware. Now, if they directly talk to the hardware, there is no other language which will work as fast as C++, because you're directly communicating to the hardware in the format that the hardware understands, the low level instruction understands. So nothing can compete with C and C++ when it comes to execution efficiency. But वो code भी मुश्किल है समझने के लिए. But then they have that ability. They have the compiler. That compiler translates that code into a format that the hardware can understand. In Python, it is never translated into a format that the hardware can understand. Then how does Python program run? That's a big question. That is what we'll be discussing in the next session. How does Python program run? अगर वो hardware पे run नहीं करेगा तो कैसे run करेगा? It doesn't run on a hardware. Listen what I'm saying. It doesn't run on hardware. So that's surprising. And then how does it get the work done? Because we have the processor that is installed in your machine. And वो processor ही है जिसे instruction execute करना है. Python में story is different. And what is the story of Python? How Python program runs? That will be our next topic. But it comes at a cost. So you cannot compare the speed of Python program with C and C++. There is only one drawback that Python has, executions performance. But आजकल machines इतने बढ़िया है. आजकल हमेशा time is not very important. I'll tell you why time is not very important. Dheeraj writes a code in Python. He's a Python certified professional. So he says, मैं Python में code लिखूंगा. Amay is a C expert. Amay writes a code in C. Both of them write a billing software. एक customer के लिए एक super storage. Both of them write a billing software. Obviously, Amay का code fast run करना चाहिए. Dheeraj का code slow run करना चाहिए as compared to Amay's code. Doesn't really matter much. Not always. Why? Because Dheeraj का code is Amay का code is running 10 times faster than Dheeraj का code. अरे मगर जब वो प्रिंट करने के वो कस्टमर की प्रिंटिंग जो ग्रोसरी की लिस्ट जो प्रिंट करनी है उसके लिए जो प्रिंट करना है अमय का कोड आने पर क्या प्रिंटर फास्ट रन करेगा क्या? देयर आर सो मेनी बॉटलनेक्स व्हिच आर देयर. अमय के कोड पे काम करने वाला ऑपरेटर विल टाइप की द डेटा एट द स्पीड ऑफ 60 पर सेकेंड और धीरज के प्रोग्राम को रन करने वाला ऑपरेटर विल टाइप द इनपुट एट 30 वर्ड्स पर सेकेंड. ऐसा है क्या? That's not the case. There is अमय के कोड पे इनपुट करने वाला भी ऑपरेटर है, वो बहुत स्लो टाइप करेगा. तो अमय का कोड तो वेट कर रहा है, आने दो बाबा जल्दी, आई कैन प्रोसेस. बट इनपुट तो आ जाए फास्ट. इनपुट इज देयर ऑन द हार्ड डिस्क. हार्ड डिस्क में बॉटलनेक है. योर हार्ड डिस्क इज ओल्ड हार्ड डिस्क, साटा हार्ड डिस्क भी नहीं है, उसके बाद पुराना हार्ड डिस्क है. अब वहां से डेटा आएगा ही नहीं तो प्रोग्राम क्या प्रोसेस करेगा? देयर आर नंबर ऑफ अदर बॉटलनेक्स आल्सो व्हिच विल अफेक्ट द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ योर एप्लीकेशन. इट्स गुड टू हैव प्रोग्राम व्हिच इज रनिंग फास्टर, but it should also be maintainable. It should also be costing less for you to develop, because ये भी सारे factors affect करते हैं. There are other bottlenecks also which are there. As I told you, IO ही अपना bottleneck होता है. IO means input output ही अपना bottleneck होता है. Printer बहुत slow काम करता है as compared to processor. No way to compare. Hard disk बहुत slow काम होता है. Keyboard से input आएगा, बहुत आप वो objects लेके बार-बार machine के सामने scan करोगे, कितने fast करोगे, उठाओगे फिर scan करो या एकदम fast करोगे, ऐसा भी तो होने वाला नहीं. वो scanner में भी read करना चाहिए, input scan होना चाहिए. So there are so many other bottlenecks that overall performance of the system matters. So not always आपने कौन सा language लिया है that will have a very big impact on the performance of your application. It all depends upon कौन से scenario में run कर. हाँ, अगर मैं spacecraft वगैरह design कर रहा हूँ, I'll definitely use C++. I'll not go in for Python immediately, because there time is critical. यानी 1 nanosecond का difference is the difference between life and death. Correct. There I'll not use it. But in this normal commercial application, I have a wide variety of choice. There are other factors which will decide which technology we'll have to use. So it's not always about speed. It is not always about speed. So I think this was a basic introduction and to Python. Next time when we meet, what I plan to discuss with you is like, what is a Python shell, how you start running Python programs, and then what happens internally while you start writing programs in Python. So suppose we have 4 more minutes. So let me just show you an interactive prompt, how simple it is for you to start running in Python. Just have a look over here, everybody. So I want to start working on Python. So I start with my command prompt. I go to my command prompt. I say CMD. मेरा command prompt start हो गया है. अरे बाप रे, ये आ गया मेरा command prompt. Suppose my command prompt has started. Okay, my command prompt has started. And it can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be any command prompt that you may have. तो अगर मेरा Windows का command prompt, I'll start on Linux as well. Just see how simple it is for you to start with Python. अगर ये Windows का, I hope everybody can see the Windows window.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I just type Python. मैंने Python type किया. My Python is start ready. Okay. Font size okay है ना? Okay. And I want to do some calculations. Arya has told me, sir, आप है ना मुझे एक calculation करके दीजिएगा. 345 divided by 5 कितना होता है? Okay, 69.0 होता है. अरे कहाँ है Python? Simple calculator के जैसे I can start using. This is the Python prompt where we the 3 greater than sign है. ये Python prompt है. यहाँ आप अपना command देना शुरू कर सकते हो. I have to say, hi Divya, how are you? So I'm gonna say print. Whoever it is. Hello Mr. Das, how are you? आ गया Das. Okay, I want to greet him. So I'll say, इसका पहला नाम, आपके दोस्त आपको क्या इतने बड़े नाम से पुकारते हैं या कोई शॉर्ट नेम है? दास?
Biresh.
Biresh, that's good. So I say, hi Biresh, how are you? So hello Biresh. Okay, so how simple it is. It's easy for a kid also. So we say kids also learn Python. I also teach, I do conduct training programs for school kids also. And I teach Python programming to class 7 students as well. Because there is where we are encouraging them to do some computational thinking. Python is a very good choice. अगर छोटे मोटे काम करने हैं तो भी. It can work as a simple calculator. I say 6 plus 7. Oh, अरे नहीं. This number, it's a very big number that I have. This large number, अरे TQ type कर रहा हूँ बीच में. This very large number divided by this very large number, 0.66. You can get an answer. It's just like a calculator. You can just start typing, and you can make use of it. Whatever operation you would like to do, all the basic arithmetic operations that you do, you can perform those operations. अगर मुझे चाहिए था 45 raised to 5 कितना होता है? 45 raised to 5 इतना है आ गया आपका आंसर. अरे नहीं, raised to नहीं चाहिए था, मल्टीप्लाई करना था. ये मल्टीप्लाई करके आंसर आ गया. So very simple to work with Python. अगर आप Linux पे काम कर रहे हो, तो I have multiple operating system installed. अगर आप Linux पे हो, the only difference would be there I said Python. यहाँ मैं लिखूंगा if I say Python, ये पुराना वर्जन ऑफ Python स्टार्ट कर रहा है 2.7 और हमें 2.7 पे काम नहीं करना है, तो मैं एग्जिट करके बाहर आ जाता हूँ. तो मुझे लेटेस्ट वर्जन में काम करना है, तो लिनक्स में है तो आपको अलग अलग तरीके से करना होगा. Python कहा तो 2.7 और Python 3 कहा तो लेटेस्ट Python. तो ये अभी मैंने 3.6 है लिनक्स में मेरे पास. doesn't matter much. 2019 का है, 3.6 is also okay. But point is, जैसे हमने विंडोज में काम किया वैसा यहाँ भी करेंगे. 6 minus 56, answer is minus 50. नहीं बाबा, 6 plus 56, answer is 62. नहीं रे बाबा, 6 into 56, answer is 365. It was 5 raised to 3, that is 125 and so on. It's a Python prompt that is there where you can start writing command. How simple was it? Just say Python 3 in Linux. Linux में तो Python comes inbuilt, वो by default आ जाएगा. Windows में तो आपको install करना होगा. Linux में तो install करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, वो by default ही आपके पास आ जाएगा. This was a Python shell where we start and you forget something. आपको याद ही नहीं यार, कोई कमांड ही याद नहीं आ रहा है, तो कहिए ना बाबा help and I say print जरा मुझे हेल्प करो, ये प्रिंट कैसे करना है. इट सेज नो बाबा, ये कुछ तो आपने गलत किया, ये हेल्प में पहले आपको हेल्प कहना चाहिए. तो सपोज मैंने कहा हेल्प, ओके लेट्स सी क्या हुआ हेल्प का. इफ आई से हेल्प, ओ इट सेज हेल्प विद ओपन ब्रैकेट क्लोज ब्रैकेट, ये आपने कहा हेल्प. एक बार हेल्प में गए, अब यहाँ जिस चीज की हेल्प चाहिए आप उसकी हेल्प यहाँ ले सकते हो. तो इफ आई वांट टू हैव सम काइंड ऑफ हेल्प, आई कैन ऑलवेज हैव अ हेल्प ओवर हियर. सो इफ आई से ये देता है क्या प्रिंट की हेल्प, देखो ये प्रिंट क्या है आपको बताएगा, हेल्प, इमीडिएट हेल्प अवेलेबल. Okay, so that's how simple it is for you to start working with Python. Okay, that's how simple it is for you to start working with Python. And I say exit, baba bahar aa jao, Control D करके आप बाहर आ सकते हैं. So that's how you can work. And same command we'll use even over here in Windows. अगर help चाहिए तो वही करोगे. आपने कहा help is our best friend. I mean कुछ हो जाए तो ये help. Okay, but I'll not be using this help very often. मैं तो Python doc ही यूज करूंगा. हेल्प में गए और जिस किसी चीज की हेल्प चाहिए आपको, अगर कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा है तो इसकी हेल्प देख ली है आपने, और फिर नहीं बाबा ये खत्म हो गया, हेल्प देख के खत्म हो गया, आई कम आउट and I say I finish with my work. I can start with my other tasks that I would like to. So that's how simple it is for you to write some code in Python. But when I write this code, when I wrote this instruction 75 plus 7, ये run कैसे हुआ है, that's very important. So next session we'll be talking about how Python program runs. Okay, and then we'll also talk about some very interesting concept about Python. एक तो Python program run कैसे होता है वो डिस्कस करेंगे, and then I'll tell you about Python मतलब क्या अवेलेबल है मार्केट में. Python है मतलब क्या है, you are here to learn, मतलब आप exactly क्या पढ़ने वाले हो. Most of you say सर क्या बात कर रहे हैं, Python कोर्स है तो Python ही पढ़ने वाले. Wait for the next session. अगले सेशन we will talk about what are the various flavors of Python which are available. और हम कौन सा फ्लेवर लेने वाले हैं, मैंगो फ्लेवर, वैनिला फ्लेवर, कौन सा फ्लेवर. डोंट वरी, ऐसे नहीं फ्लेवर्स, देयर आर अदर फ्लेवर्स बट है फ्लेवर्स, and every flavor will have its own advantages and disadvantages. We'll understand what Python is and what we are going to learn and how we are going to learn Python. So next session we'll talk about how to run Python programs and what are the various flavors of Python which are currently available in the market. So anybody has a question, you can ask. Any query that you have, you can ask.
The duration of the course.
72 hours. 72 sessions. 72 sessions.
Okay, sir. Means how much days?
72 sessions. आप एक्स्ट्रा आओगे संडे को जल्दी हो जाएगा, नहीं आते हो तो थोड़ा सा एक्सटेंड कर जाएगा. 72 sessions is what we'll require.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And I'll not promise कि 72 पे खत्म मतलब खत्म. वो 70 भी हो सकता है, वो 80 भी जा सकता है. Depends upon how the interaction goes with you and me. अगर अनुजा का डाउट है, मैं कहूँगा अनुजा मैं आपके क्वेश्चन को आंसर नहीं करने वाला हूँ बिकॉज अभी 72 सेकंड है, नहीं चलेगा. I'll make sure that what you learn it perfectly. थोड़ा आगे पीछे हो जाएगा बट ज्यादा नहीं होगा. इन्हें तो क्वेश्चन अल्टरनेट डे रहेगा. यू विल हैव अल्टरनेट डेज. डेली बहुत लोड हो जाएगा बिकॉज मैं जो सिखाऊंगा वो आपको प्रैक्टिस
टाइमिंग
7 o'clock only will 7 to 8:30.
Fees,
Sir,
You can talk to madam about fees. हाँ
sir, about Python, we have to refer Python notes also for means while programming or coding.
देखो हर बार नोट्स देखते रहोगे तो कुछ तो सीखना है, कुछ तो याद हो जाएगा. एंड फ्यू थिंग्स यू विल हैव टू रेफर एंड आई विल टीच यू हाउ टू रेफर टू दोस नोट्स. आई विल टीच यू. ये नहीं कि हर एक लाइन लिखने के पहले नोटबुक खोल के बैठेंगे. दैट्स नॉट द वे इट इज टू बी डन. फ्यू थिंग्स, सिंटैक्स है, नया फीचर है, वो कैसे एक्सप्लोर करना है. दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड. आई विल नॉट जस्ट टीच यू पाइथन लैंग्वेज, आई विल टीच यू हाउ टू लर्न पाइथन.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, anybody? You will be getting a mail from my side that will talk about how why and Python is so very popular in the market. उसका एक अभी एक मेल भी आ जाएगा आपको कल. So do read that small thing. Python की opportunities क्या मार्केट में, why it is so popular, सबको मेल आ जाएगा. Do make sure that you, and अगर आपका मेल गलत है तो दोबारा रजिस्टर कीजिएगा because you will get my communication only through mail. And plus, just hold on. I forgot to tell you about how we teach Python at Impetus. I'm teaching you right now. After we finish, suppose कोई topic शुरू किया, I'll give you an introduction to the topic. I'll have some presentation. After that, I'll take you some demonstration. कोई code मैं run करके दिखाऊंगा और वो सारे codes, notes, everything will be present on our e-learning portal. उसका एक मोबाइल ऐप भी है और इंटरनेट पे भी रहेगा, साइट पे भी रहेगा. वहां से आपको वो प्रोग्राम डाउनलोड करना है और उसे आपको टेस्ट करना है, वापस जाके यूज करना है. आपके असाइनमेंट्स, everything will be there on that portal itself. Next session, I'll show you that e-learning portal जहाँ आपके कोड रहेंगे, आपके प्रोग्राम्स रहेंगे, everything will be there. आपके सबमिशन भी वही करना है, आपको डाउनलोड भी वही करना है, टेस्ट भी वही देना है. एवरीथिंग इज ऑन द ई-लर्निंग पोर्टल व्हिच कैन बी एक्सेस थ्रू योर मोबाइल फोन एज वेल. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
Hello.
प्लीज गो अहेड.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned earlier, we can go for international certification.
Yes.
So can you please provide the list of certification which we can appear by completing this course?
We can help you out in the entire process of getting certified. And if you go via us, the process will be very, very simple. You can do it externally also. And you being a part at Impetus, you can also approach the agency through us also. We are a Python training institute. So we will help you with the entire certification process.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir. It's Prashant.
Yes, please.
Just
Hold on, Prashant. We have finished for the session today. Those who have questions, they will have to wait. I will not be teaching anything more. If you want to listen to the conversation, you can be there. But the session is over. I thank you, all of you, for attending the session today. Don't miss the next session. I expect to see you for the course as well. Thank you all for attending the session. Others who have questions can stay back and ask the questions. I'm available.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Do we have specific syllabus for this?
Yes.
Python
You will be
course?
getting on the mail now. Yeah, I'll be sharing the syllabus with you on the mail.
Okay. Thank you.
तो आपको जो मेल आएगा उसमें दोनों चीजें रहेंगे, पाइथन अपॉर्चुनिटीज और उसमें सिलेबस भी रहेगा. You will also have this syllabus.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, by mistakenly, I registered the wrong email. So can I register again?
Yeah, you will have to register again.
Okay.
तो आप दोबारा register कीजिएगा, otherwise you will not get the syllabus and everything.
Okay.
Right.
And sir, for the fees inquiry, can you please type the phone number in chat box?
Here I am typing right now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Monica, madam, can you type? Any other question, anybody? And Zoom is so very interactive. कभी आपको डाउट रहेगा तो you can share your machine with me. I can take a control of your machine. We do that normally in the class. तो ये इंटरेक्टिव है, ये कोई वीडियो लेक्चर्स नहीं है. तो इंटरेक्टिव होने की वजह से आपको जब भी डाउट रहेगा आपको बताना है, आपने अपनी मशीन शेयर करनी मेरे साथ. एंड ड्यूरिंग द सेशन इटसेल्फ आई विल डू द करेक्शंस ऑन योर मशीन इटसेल्फ डायरेक्टली. तो अगर आप लैपटॉप या डेस्कटॉप से काम कर रहे हैं, मोबाइल पे तो नहीं करेक्ट कर सकेंगे, बट अगर आप लैपटॉप या डेस्कटॉप पे है तो विल बी हैंड्स ऑन. आपका डाउट है तो आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे जब तक आपका डाउट क्लियर नहीं होता है. टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करेंगे. Any other question, anybody?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sir. What is the name of the international certificate which you will be accessing us?
I'll be sharing links with you. You want to see that? Yeah, look at this. You can go to Python.org. You will get the entire track. कि ये सर्टिफिकेशन कैसा है उसका पूरा ट्रैक है यहाँ. And I plan to share the same thing with you all.
सर भेज दिया मैंने.
भेज दिया. Great. Okay. Dheeraj is Python certified. So we have amongst us one Python certified fellow as well. Check in the chat window. Dheeraj has shared the link.
Sir, I guess what they're trying to ask is what is the roadmap towards certification?
Okay, then I'll discuss that in the next session then. Okay. You can watch that and you will find like entry level है, associate level होता है, professional level है, and it goes on. सबका syllabus होता है. And if you map the syllabus, you will find almost everything that's there in the syllabus we will be covering here. I'll be sharing. Mail में आ जाएगा आपको. Any other question?
सर वो सर्टिफिकेशन का जो लिंक है ना वो आप व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भी शेयर कर दो ना. मतलब
मेल आएगा ना डिटेल में.
ओके ठीक
है. मेल में, बिकॉज इन द मेल आई विल बी गिविंग यू थैंक यू नोट भी आएगा, उसके साथ लिंक्स भी आएंगे.
ओके, थैंक यू सर.
ओके, आई विल बी सेंडिंग अ मेल. धीरज, हाउ कम यू आर हियर टुडे? यू आर गोना टीच?
नहीं सर. सर एक्चुअली in last training I have missed a lot of session because of my work.
Okay.
So I was not able to devote myself properly.
Okay.
And though I am I know my path towards Python, which would be Python scripting, more of a Python scripting, not a web development or something else.
Correct.
So there are a few concepts, for example, dictionaries list.
Correct.
So these are very important.
Correct.
And so I have one my brother-in-law also. So
Okay.
joined Birishashish Das. the one.
That's the one. The same I was talking about. Okay, surprising. Okay, he may feel like I had targeted him, but I was not aware. I was not aware. I was just looking out for somebody who is not Marathi speaking kind of thing. Okay,
Sir, but the certification that I have given the entry level, our course does not match with that. Our course is, I guess, goes to the associate level itself.
Yeah, but for us to go to associate level, it's not like the topics over there are not being covered at our place.
Correct. But sir, what I'm saying is the course content is like associate level itself.
Correct.
So it covers both of them, entry and associate.
Yes. Oh, that's something that I can mention then, rather than just saying certification preparation.
Sir, because entry level means like nowhere like entry level syllabus you are having. It is far more than that.
Correct. So I'll definitely mention that. So that would help as a